Well, hello everybody and welcome to Newegg TV. I'm Steve, and in our studio today, you probably recognize this face right here, this clean-shaven face. In fact, this is JJ from Asus. What's up, JJ?
How you doing, man? As always, it's good to be back at Newegg TV.
Awesome. It's always awesome when you come here. And speaking of that, I know the reason why you're here today. In fact, it's probably no surprise to you guys because you clicked the link, but this is the brand new Asus Swift monitor. And if you recall, anytime I've ever talked about this monitor, I've pretty much been drooling over it. So having had an opportunity to play with it a little bit at Paul's house, and in fact, you want to check out his video. He did one too at Paul's Hardware. That's on YouTube. Check that out. But JJ's here to fill in the gaps to which Paul did not talk about in his video. So there's JJ, I mean, you're so full of information and there's so much to learn about every Asus product. What do you want to start with the Swift?
Well, I think, just a little bit of kind of design story. One of the most important things that we do at Asus, I think, is spend a lot of time on the kind of the aspects of why do we design a product, right? I mean, we had already made a really wide base of monitors, right? Especially, I think, for gamers with our VG series. You yourself already have a VG series monitor.
I do.
So, in that respect, a huge amount of users were already really happy with 144 hertz, 120 hertz, 3D vision. They were doing light boost hacking to the monitors. They had low response time, great input lag. So it wasn't like they were hurting in terms of having not a really great monitor for gaming experience. But the feedback that we had from a large amount of the users was we would really like to go beyond 1080p. We want to go to 2560. We know that you guys have great PB, PA series monitors, but the PLS or the in-plane switching, it just isn't giving us the refresh rate as well as the response time to be able to have us have that ultra level of fluidity and response that we're happy with. The problem was that there was no panel that existed on the market that met that specification. It did not exist. And as of right now, with all current panel technologies outside of TN, it wasn't possible to be able to reach those ultra low response times and that high refresh rate. And so kind of we went to the drawing board and saying, we want to be able to do something really special. And at the same time, our design team on the monitor side had been looking to do an ROG monitor, but we're very slow to extend the ROG branding out to different products because with ROG kind of comes an expectation that it should be an awesome product. It should really be innovative. It should have a great deal of design and functionality and versatility. And so when we kind of put this all together, we said, okay, hey, let's see if we can make an ROG monitor. Let's see if we can give users what they're looking for. And ultimately, what we figured out was we were going to have to actually get the panel custom developed. We were actually going to have to create a new panel to be able to meet the market specifications of what enthusiasts were looking for in this gaming space. Wow. And I think that's what makes this panel first and foremost special is that it's the world's first 2560 by 1440 monitor at 144 hertz with 1 millisecond response time. And then on top of that, we then had to elevate the quality perception of what the panel even showed. Here we've got some beautiful high resolution imagery, but historically TN monitors, they've kind of been looked at a little bit negatively in terms of their quality expectation. While we, I think, had improved that quality expectation on our current VG series, if you actually look at a lot of feedback even directly on the Newegg e-tail commentary system, most users are extremely happy, and you don't see people complaining about like color saturation or quality or back reproduction or stuff like that.
Right.
But most of those panels are generally using 6-bit based panels, and so this has a limited level in terms of the gradation and color reproduction. And so we said, well, how can we get closer to giving people that almost, in-plane switching or almost PLS caliber performance.
Right.
And at that same time, since we were getting the panel custom developed, we said, okay, hey, let's do a true 8-bit TN-based panel. So this was also going to be a big evolution in terms of just the quality. So the big benefit to that is that for gamers coming over from pre-existing monitors, in pretty much every single way, they're going to get an improvement. They're going over from probably a 6-bit with some form of dithering to a true 8-bit panel. They're getting high resolution. They're getting that higher refresh rate. They're getting the low response time, and they're getting this awesome, just kind of aggressive, clean aesthetic because, of course, we've entirely customized the entire housing for the monitor, the chassis. And that's something that I think also kind of gives it a bespoke kind of feel, right? Because it doesn't look like any other monitor as well.
No, it really doesn't.
And halfway through that, through the design process, actually, NVIDIA came to us. We're an extremely close partner with NVIDIA on multiple different product categories. And they had kind of fed back and said, hey, we're developing this G-Sync technology, and we'd love to partner with you guys as being kind of this market leader for gaming-grade monitors.
I've been curious about that, actually, too, because clearly it's going to take a while. If you design the panel, how did that come about, the interaction with NVIDIA? So clearly they came to you on the path of creating this monitor.
Yeah, and so it was kind of a bidirectional process, and that just kind of continued to kind of bring this perfect perfect storm together of really bringing all the key technologies that you guys had been wanting, right? And that's what leaves us now with this ROG Swift monitor, where we've got, you know, NVIDIA G-Sync, which is just an absolute game changer in terms of the fluidity and response that you can have in gaming. You've got ultra-low motion blur, which is an amazing technology which can significantly improve clarity in gaming. You've got, you know, the core specifications, 2560 by 1440, 144, 1 milliseconds, 109 PPI. You've got those 1 millimeter thin bezels on the sides. You've got the ability to have full ergonomic adjustment in terms of, you know, tilt, swivel, height. You got the VESA mount support. It's an integrated USB 3 hub, you know, and even the subtle design touches of, right, of having the light and motion base, right, with that breathing ROG LED, right?
Gives it just one nice little touch of
which is, you know, for our ROG enthusiasts out there that have had that feature on motherboards, when they kind of just saw that feature, they were just like, wow, that's awesome. It just spoke to you as an enthusiast. So I think all that kind of work just came to kind of fruition in what we see here, and it's something that we're really excited about, and the community is super excited about seeing this type of monitor. So, you know, the big thing I think a lot of people asked, and now that you've had the opportunity of experiencing it, is one, the color performance, I think, of the panel has been very, very good. You know, so for a lot of people worried about, like, hey, is it as good as, you know, an in-plane switching or PLS? It's not, you know, to that exact level, but it's extremely good, and it's hard-pressed in a side-by-side case scenario. You're going to be hard-pressed to be able to see that. And even, you know, independent reviews that are coming out this time, you know, from great places like the Tech Report, like TFT Central, you know, back that statement up that users can really have a great quality experiences with this monitor and really have it be deep, rich, immersive detailing, and that goes great with all those key gamer technologies that you as a gamer can benefit from. I
mean, just coming across from my perspective of playing with the PG278Q, that 144 hertz refresh rate, 1080p monitor is awesome.
Yeah.
The thing was, it was always 1080p, so I knew I was always going to perform as close to 150 frames a second as I could.
Yeah.
But that's not a 2560 by 1440 panel. I mean, having that on top of that, the 144 hertz refresh rate, and then G-Sync too, if you end up using an NVIDIA card. I mean, even if you didn't though, having this panel, it's awesome. And you even showed me a little bit about ultra low
motion blur.
Thank you. ULMB.
ULMB, yeah.
God, I can never get that acronym down. So that even was impressive. I mean, we went to a website with UFO test.
Yeah, you can go to UFO Blur Busters. They've got a great actually site that's built on being able to show you a lot of things like refresh rate, a lot of other great information. Mark and his entire team there really kind of set the bar for high refresh rate information on monitors.
So basically, if you're not familiar with it, guys, it's essentially showing a little UFO guy flying across the screen, and essentially does it at different refresh rates, right?
Yep.
And depending on your monitor too. So we reset this down to 120 hertz, and then we watched it go across the screen, and then he just flips it on for me. So you flip on ultra low motion blur, ULMB. So he flips that on real quick, and instantly, whereas before I could tell that there was a small amount of blur, the amount of detail, I could see the pupils on the alien's eyes, all three pupils, as well as a little joystick that he's holding, I think, right?
Everything just kind of pops into focus.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a little bit more dim, but it's not something you couldn't tell. You could still play games with that without an issue. And it's something I'm going to investigate further, because it's not something I did over at Paul's house. So
yeah.
So maybe in the next day or so I'll be able to dive into
I
that.
think overall for a lot of you guys, if you're really kind of looking for a key monitor in terms of the core specifications, you're really going to get a great experience. And kind of one of the things here also, if you kind of maybe want to tilt the monitor over for me, we also spend a lot of time, if maybe you can bring up the on-screen display, is that we've got a great multi-point jog navigation system that's built on there. So you've got a really easy way to be able to go ahead and make adjustments. Like, that's actually one option. You just click the turbo button, and you can see on screen there you've got a refresh rate option. So when you're in game, actually, like let's say if you're playing in a game, you have the ability to simply be able to touch a button and be able to change from 60 hertz to 120 hertz to 144 hertz. You've got a 5-axis jog dial that's on the back there, so that if you want to go ahead and make quick and easy adjustments to different things like your brightness, your color settings, different things like that, you can quickly go in there and make all kinds of easy to make adjustments. Plus, we've got the Game First Plus options in there, so of course you can have crosshairs, or you can have a countdown timer depending on the game that you're playing. So I think we've tried to look at kind of all the key aspects that a gamer really appreciates in a high performance quality monitor. When you tie that in with, of course, the monitor also having VESA mount support, that I think is an additional plus. And even like the attention to detail in terms of long-term reliability. You know, the back of this chassis actually has specialized venting holes that have been designed to be able to actually actively cool the panel to a very high degree. And the reason why that's important is because we actually have a really big high-performance G-Sync module in there. It's an FPGA chip. It's kind of like a big processor. Actually, to even get it to work at its speeds that we have, we actually had to overclock it, and we built in a special custom larger heatsink to be able to
just to keep it cool.
Just to keep it cool, just to keep it really reliable. And that was really challenging because if you look at the custom ID, this thing is about clean, slanted design angles, right?
It's very stealthish.
Yeah, it's inspired by kind of the bomber-based design IDs that we have in our notebooks and different types of ROG-inspired devices. Nice. So that was a that was a difficult pursuit to get that all compactly fit in there, look great, and be thermally reliable and thermally stable. And then along with there, being able to even add other things like a USB 3 hub, which I think is just kind of icing on the cake to be able to have on the monitor. So all the way around, I think it's a really awesome monitor, really easy to work with, and ultra high quality. And you top that off with, I think, an outstanding warranty. You know, for a lot of you guys that may not know, we offer a very high quality warranty with our monitors, 3 years. And we also have an advanced RMA policy for our monitors. In the event that you need to actually have a replacement, we can ship you out a replacement. So a lot of really great things to tie that in to make sure that as you own this product, you can feel confident in terms of the reliability as well as the back-end service for that. So wow, I'd love to see your guys' feedback as well. We're already designing our next generation of gaming monitors. So for you guys that have the opportunity to get a Swift or you're looking for more information, you can definitely make sure and check out the PC DIY website where we've got even more information, as well as I'm always receptive to your guys' feedback because this is really a monitor that's born from your guys' community-based feedback on what you wanted to see in the quote-unquote, best gaming monitor.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely leave those comments in the description below. JJ, once again, thank you so much for stepping into our office. We appreciate it. Thank you guys also for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Newegg. And until then, we'll see you guys very soon.